All right, so what you saw me doing, I had it on time lapse just because it's so loud, because that machine's running, the belt's running, that little air compressor's running. I don't have enough air over here. My dust collector's not currently hooked up. So I've got my big compressor running into here, and then the little pancake compressor I've got here, strictly just for blowing stuff off, because you don't want to run it through the sander with a bunch of dust on it. So what I do is I'll blow it off like in between every pass or every 2 or 3 passes. And basically I've got 4 set up. So what these are, I don't exactly know what the part is, but they're stainless. They're 1/2 inch thick, and then these plates are 1/4. So this machine's set up on a 3/4. Right now I've got it on 1/2 because you saw me just doing some back passes on some individual pieces. I'm actually gonna try one now just without bolting it to this plate. The reason we were doing that, and the customer actually did the plates, they made the jig plates for us to bolt everything to, so everything stands at one time. But I'm able to, because these parts are big and bulky, I'm able to push them through and keep them straight, and also you know, not have any issues, but keep the grain. That's what you're wanting to do. So you can see here, everything is, the grain is all the same because everything is bolted. This is the way they get mounted wherever they go to the job site. So we've got 2 left. This is our first batch. I think there's 22 here, so there'll be 66 pieces because there's 3 pieces to each one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually go real time, and I'll just have to probably just put some music or something on here because you're not gonna be able to hear anything. It's just gonna be extremely too loud. So I'm gonna run this first. And you see me switching these up, running both directions, just trying to get get all of the grain the same, get everything super smooth and consistent. And you saw me taking some bolts out here there. The problem is they're extremely flat, except for a couple. There's a couple that I guess when they laser cut them, high def pliers, I'm not sure what that is. I think it's high def pliers actually. They had a little bit of warpage. Yeah, that's not laser. They had a little bit of warpage, so they've got a slight crown in them. And I can only do one side because you see they've got these countersunk holes for these, which I'm assuming they're using something like this eventually when they install them, so everything's flush. And this company does a lot of government stuff, so I'm assuming they're going to maybe a military base or something like that, something high-end, big airport. But what I'm trying to do is get the grain all the same. All I'm doing is just the tops. Everything here is going to be hidden once they install them anyway. And so what I'm going to try to do is just do this at one pass. So I'm going to leave it at, I'm right at 1/2 inch, just a hair under now, and I'm going to set it back up. Unfortunately, start the compressor, so you won't be able to hear much. And I just want you to see it as it runs through and comes out the other side. Some of these I've been able to do in just 2 passes. I haven't done a 1 pass. I've done 2 passes on a couple of them out of the 22. Probably just a handful, but that speeds things up a lot. Some of them I've had to run 8 or 10 passes and just kind of crank it down just a little bit, make some adjustments, because what happens is, and that's why I want to try this individually, if they've got some bows in them, you have to basically smooth it all out. So what I would do is set them on the jig plate, and then I would go through and just rub my hand on it, kind of like doing old-fashioned body work. Rub your hand and kind of crank down on some bolts here or there to adjust them. I'd take some of the bolts out if I had to get them as smooth as possible. And some of them, like I said, maybe 4 or 5 of them just ended up being super perfect. Ran past through, flipped it around, ran it through again, and it was done. And like I said, some of them have just been a pain in the butt. And I'm having to do 8, 10, 12 passes. But anyway, this is the Apex Easy Sander. This is a 36-inch wide belt. I think it's actually 37. But we got it for doing all of our clips for like stairs, because we do so many of the 3/16 plates that we bend and use for our stairs. And we also got it for anything coming off the plasma table. So metal art, stuff like that is really good for it. I'll actually show you the sample pieces. I sent these off. They've got some surface rust now just because they've been sitting in the storage trailer, but these are actually the pieces. They did these, the guys up at Apex. You can see this rust. That's strictly because it's been setting outside. It has no mill scale on it. So once you do this, you know, it's something you want to keep in mind, that you want to use these products and not let them set, because they will get surface rust. on them. But these, like this one here, it's a 1 or 2 pass, 60 grit. Feed speed would be 10, and it's dry. I don't have a wet option. So and then, like I said, they just did 6 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6 of them for me. And this is what they look like when we're done. This one has not been sanded. This is one we've got a few extra left over from our last job. But these we take and cut these 3/16 plates with the slots on our plasma table, and then we bend them 90 degrees, and that's what mounts to our stringers to bolt our stairs to. So we do a lot of those. So that's one of the main reasons we bought the sander. It's one of the main reasons we brought the CNC press. And we just haven't been busy on stairs this year. It's been one of those years where things are slow. Election years are seem to be like that for a couple of our big customers. But we're rolling on anyway and finding other things to do. So here we go. Let me crank this up and get back to it. You can hear me or not, but coming through first pass, usually we'll get 80% of it sanded down, but you'll see a few blemishes, and I think it's actually going to be better off this way because it'll get the edges better because there's nothing stopping. You see there's a bad edge, just an imperfection in the metal. So what I'll do is just bump it down just a hair. If you can use this button, it's quicker, or you have a wheel on the side that I can go down in the smaller increments. This is the tricky part, is keeping this all straight. You want your grain all running the same way. Grain, it's actually not grain, it's the sanding strokes. Yeah, this one's gonna take a little bit to get that out. You see there, it'll take a few minutes to get that piece. And sometimes what you can do, because I've been running through the middle, I can run to one side or the other also to combat the worn down sandpaper in the middle. I've got to get this dust collector hooked up. This thing makes such a mess.
So I'm going to try to explain this without all the noise, and just after watching this, finally just did a voiceover. There's one spot on here you can see that's giving me a lot of issues. I kept having to run this through over and over, and what that does, that caused a little bit of heat, so I'd let it set, cool off a little bit, and run it back through, but it still kind of had some hazing on it, but we'll get it. I literally got to the end of the batch of 22 pieces we were doing here, to the 22 sets, and I had 1 or 2 that were just giving me a fit that just had some edges that would not grind out or sand out. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll just try running individual pieces, and it actually did work better. I don't know if I'll do that on the next batch or not, but because I like having them all on the jig, but the problem is it's extremely heavy, and like I said, I don't have my outfeed table done yet. Maybe by the time we do the next batch, we'll have that ready to go, and that'll help out a lot.
One of the reasons I wanted to try this individually also is because those pieces are so heavy. I haven't built my outfeed roller table yet. I've got a set of rollers for it, but I haven't got to that, so it's been extremely heavy. I'll set this to the side. I mean, it's getting pretty hot. Just blow this off. And got one spot I'm having issues with. You see the discoloration, you kind of really hard to tell from the camera, I'm sure, but you get a little bit like basically like a hazing, and it's just from the heat. You saw me putting on gloves, that rubber gloves on when I got done, and was just trying to keep from getting any sweat, stuff like that. I need an outfeed table basically that has rollers on it, comes out and goes into like maybe a catch can or something to catch the material. That way if I don't make it over there. Let's blow these off and see how they look. Yeah, they both need a little more. You see the grains there, they're not completely filled in. Side a little bit where the paper's not as warm. So I'm running 80 grit paper. Yeah, you can see it's standing quite a bit more. I'm running 80 grit paper right now. Probably worn down to about 100 or 120. I've run, I'm on the ends, I've run 66 pieces of stainless. So that's going to be really hard and aggressive on the paper.
So here's the finished product, and it really did surprise me on how well it did. This is not the first time I've done stainless on this Apex sander, but the first time I've done something this caliber, this size, this thickness, and it turned out amazing. So super happy with it. Like I said, other than that little hazing stuff, and that could just be from the heat or the worn sanding paper, or that's really about it. But other than that, I think we did a pretty good job.
As you can see, it makes one heck of a mess. That's why we need that dust collector hooked up. That needs to be priority. ASAP. This is usually, unless I'm just way behind, which I kind of am, not behind, just booked up, but usually I clean up when I finish a job, especially if I'm not going to be using that machine for the next one. Clean it up. That's how the shop stays so clean. There are days that it's really busy, can't clean up, might even go all week and not do much cleaning. All right, so back to your regularly scheduled program. All done, paper in between, so just keep them from scratching. And then what I'll do is I'll pick this up here in a minute when I get rid of this, shrink wrap everything nice and tight. They'll come pick it up. We're gonna keep the jig plates because we've got, gosh, I think another set of 20. I think total they've got 75 of these to do. That was 22, so we're not even a third of the way through. But anyway, nice and clean over here, and let's put this stuff up. And then that's it for that. So we'll get all this cleaned up, and that's it.